I'm John. I'm 45. It's Monday night, and I am aching for somebody to just hurl a javelin clean through my head. But that's not going to happen. So instead, we're going to play Battle Royale. That's arguably one of the boldest intros I may ever do, especially if I leave the house tomorrow morning and somebody actually hurls a javelin clean through my head. Um, but I mean, there's a residence car park opposite the house. I'm not entirely sure who would be bold enough to try javelin practice um, amid a load of parked cars. Um, I feel like they're asking for trouble. And you've just possibly heard me uh, adjusting the volume so that I can hear myself speak. Because I may still shout, but what I don't want to be doing is shouting throughout the whole thing because I've got the audio mix wrong. Um, because do I look like a fool to you? Do I? You don't need to answer that. Because I'm just about to stand in my little shelter and smelt some Beskar. Oh, excellent. I mentioned the resistance base earlier in the previous video, and here's me about to land in it. I've got this horrible habit in conversation. Well, I say it's horrible, I quite enjoy it. I've got this habit in conversation of just responding with puns or, just immediately kick back with a funny. And a friend of mine a few years ago pulled me up on this and said, like, everything you respond with is a joke in conversation. And I immediately referred to it as my gag reflex. um, which, which drew a really satisfying round of disgusted groans from the table of people I was sitting with. Um, I mean, in some ways, it's a bad habit. I'm not necessarily going to argue too hard, but honestly, I've got nothing else. I have absolutely nothing else, and so I'm not letting anybody take it away from me. Um, I think the worst time that instinct ever kicked in was about 15 years ago. 15 years ago, and I was getting on a train to go to London. I was probably about 3 months out from a relationship ending, and it was a really nice day, but I was just not in the mood for jollity. And the coach, because it was a rail replacement service, and the coach driver and everybody sort of who was getting on the coach they were having a ball. They were laughing themselves silly, and And so you had like the guy from the train station checking tickets, and he'd crack jokes, and everyone would laugh. And then the coach driver would take the bags, and he'd join in, and everybody would laugh. And I was at the back of the queue just real, with a real face on me. Um, and then it finally became my turn, and the coach driver, no, sorry, oh dear, the chap from Stoke Station um, checked my ticket, took my bag, and while he was giving my bag to the coach driver, he says, careful, all his money's in this bag. And the coach driver went, ha 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 ha, no, his girlfriend's in this bag. And suddenly feeling the pinch of needing to join in, I just kind of went, ha ha ha, bits of her. Um, and all the bonhomie drained away. All the laughter just stopped. But I did get a seat to myself on the coach. So it wasn't all bad. Tell you what's quite a funny thing with a game like Fortnite. Considering it's a free game, I sort of expect there to be more adverts than there are. Because, like, you don't have to, I mean, obviously, they absolutely coin it in through V-Bucks. But, that said, I'd expect there to be more sort of commercial endorsements. I mean, actually, even off the back of saying that, I know that they have, like, in the item store now, there's Ferrari collaborations, and so I suppose those count as adverts. But you'd almost expect there to be like huge, uninterruptible billboards or something turning up in the maps. I'm glad there isn't. I'm glad that doesn't happen, because it's interminable. Ads do an amazing amount of life ruining, I think, with the way they seem to work these days. I saw, before I left Twitter, I remember seeing YouTube posting on Twitter saying, it's Saturday night, what are you watching first? And somebody quote tweeted it with the words, 2 unskippable ads, which, as far as I'm concerned, fully illustrates what Twitter was like at its best. I mean, funnily enough though, I mean, I usually, if I'm trying to get to sleep, I usually use YouTube relaxation videos. Which is fine, but sometimes it really it really comes to bite you on the ass because sometimes you'll have a really perfectly smooth, soft-spoken monologue, and you'll be almost off to sleep, and then about 2/3 of the way through the video, you'll be jolted back into full consciousness by the sound of rifle fire and grenades and explosions because there's an advert for like a military raid game just smack in the middle of your soothing tones. Absolute ruiner. Um, I had a kind of in real life advertising moment a few months ago. I was at the dentist having a checkup, and I have a new. I'm at the same dental practice, but I have a new dentist who's somebody I'm not used to, and he's taken to asking me during the routine checkup whether I use a manual or an electric toothbrush. And just as a small aside, I find the words manual toothbrush to be it's a really weird turn of phrase, isn't it? Um, I feel like I don't entirely know what to do with that. Um, but I've never had an electric toothbrush. Um, so it's all a bit weird. Um, so obviously I answer honestly and say I use a manual toothbrush, even though that's a weird phrase. Um, and he sort of leaned in a little bit closer and says, I think you would really benefit from an Oral-B electric toothbrush. Thus rendering the exchange all quite strange because I think if he hadn't mentioned the brand, I would have been tempted to sort of go, okay, yeah, I'll try an electric toothbrush. But no, Oral-B electric toothbrush specifically. And there's like a big sort of LED, there's a big LED TV sort of in the room where I'm having a checkup. And to be honest, it would not have surprised me um, if the screen had just sort of lit up with the words Oral-B electric toothbrush and like a photo and a brand, like a kind of like an Argos catalogue listing or something. And it was really quite jarring to have somebody give you an advert for a toothbrush during a dental examination, because it's the last place that you expect an advert of any sort to kind of manifest. But you just can't really react to that sort of thing at the time because there's not a lot you can do when somebody's got their hand in your mouth. Except maybe tentatively lick a finger. I don't know. Why did I do that? You'll never know. Wow, I've completely thrown myself off there. Anyway, yeah, one of the fun things, one of the things that came out of my dental appointment is the fact that I have what? What on earth is? Okay. Um, so I've got wisdom teeth at the back of my mouth. Of course, they're at the back. Um, I think the chances of finding the wisdom teeth in my ear are quite slim, honestly. And he said, "Well, you need to be mindful of these wisdom teeth and sort of improve at getting to them. Like you'll find it easier with an electric toothbrush." Um, so I bought an electric toothbrush. I haven't used it because the 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 plug is those two pin plugs, and I'm not one of those people who has a flipping shaving socket in my bathroom. I am not. I'm not in that class of people. So I'm still looking for a plug converter, and I don't know where it is. I'm sure I've got one. I'm sure I have, but it has not manifested. So I'm still using the manual toothbrush for the time being, and I'm trying really hard to get to that wisdom tooth at the back. But in a wonderful cyclic twist, what's ended up happening is that I try and scrub my wisdom teeth at the back, and I keep activating my gag reflex. So we've come full circle. Uh, so isn't life funny that way? So I just need to get better at making a joke about it. Okay. So it's a bit tense here actually because I'm in the top 8. I have managed to get this far somehow. There's the storm front. Okay. Where is everybody? They're not all flying around in TIE fighters, surely. Oh. You absolute. Oh. There's somebody in a TIE fighter. Well, there we go. That's a game. That's a game that happened. I'm going to take some grim comfort in the fact this guy's just shot down whoever it was killed on. Right, that's it. I will bid you adieu and speak soon.